who granted a Nigerian visa to ISIS fugitive chief Ahmed al-Assad. This has been a question bothering the minds of many Nigerians since reports made the headlines of the Palestinian radical Islamist who secured a Nigerian visa. Welcome to Question Time. I'm Benga Ashuru. Just recently, the Lebanon authorities blew the whistle that an ISIS chief of a Palestinian origin had secured a Nigerian visa with a false identity. The big question is, how did the ISIS chief beat the Nigerian immigration and consular checks? This development has far-reaching consequences on the security of the Nigerian nation. Channels Television took our findings to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where we met the Permanent Secretary, Ambassador Paul Lolo. It says the ISIS chief issue was not a consular failure in any way.
The incident you are referring to is the issue of issuance of visa in Lebanon by the Nigerian embassy there to an individual who the Lebanese authorities have regarded and said is a cleric with links to ISIS. At the time this individual went, he did not go to the embassy as a Lebanese citizen. He carried a Palestinian passport, and the information about him on that passport and what we've also through our investigations established is that he is of Palestinian extraction, resident in Lebanon. So you can easily see the link between him and the nationality that he claimed on his passport. If in any way this person was not Palestinian, we do not have the capacity to establish his nationality at our diplomatic mission. None of our missions abroad can do this easily. So that's not the work of the missions abroad.
Doesn't that put a question tag on the quality of Nigeria's intelligence setup?
Again, question of intelligence and quality, I'll put them separately and in a different arena. What is it about intelligence that you want to gather is one. How do you gather it? And then the other aspect of it, of course, will be how you assess the intelligence that you have gathered. And in all three categories, our intelligence officers are equipped and trained to do. But if, because this person turned up at the Nigerian embassy with a passport that was valid or appeared to be valid, and two, he met the requirements for the issuance of visa, that is, conditions are laid, you will first complete a form, answer a number of questions, and if you do so satisfactorily, and the embassy does not have any grounds to bar you from obtaining a visa, you'll be given your visa. That's the case with every Nigerian who goes to any other embassy to look for visas.
But there are reports that it was detected by the Lebanon authorities. Isn't it possible for Nigeria's intelligence and the consular setting to also detect this?
But you've just mentioned, Benga, that he was detected by the Lebanese authorities because he resides in Lebanon. They know him. The reports say too that he has undergone facial surgery to alter his appearance. Now, if a person goes and has and obtains a person obtains plastic surgery to alter their physical natural appearance, how on earth will a foreigner, which is what our diplomats are in Lebanon, be able to determine? And so whether or not you are capable in your intelligence, unless you have specific information and you have something to weigh that information against, I doubt if there is any diplomatic service in the world that can easily detect. And so the fact that the Lebanese authorities detected that this man had had a change to his appearance was using a name other than his real name, because these are the facts that have emerged. We in Nigeria and our mission from the investigations that we've carried out so far would seem to have acted in accordance with what I said earlier about process and procedure in the issuance of visa. And let me make this point very quickly regarding process and procedure here. When you want to visit a country, first, you must seek permission to go to that country if it applies to you. And second, you must meet the conditions that are laid. And if you meet those conditions, usually we, for us in Nigeria, do have what to check. There are persons we place on certain restriction lists. And if you are not on any of our restriction lists, it means you are eligible. Again, a visa granted does not automatically mean that you will necessarily gain entrance into even Nigeria, because the final authority to admit you rests with the control point, the first entry point. And so when you are coming in, you must pass through immigration. You must pass through other security checks. And in this case, luckily, he hadn't even left. He was just attempting to leave. And of course, we are happy that such a character was not allowed entrance into Nigeria.
Are you suggesting we don't have an effective database system to detect such mission and such intention?
I'm not saying so. And again, let me emphasize here. If, for instance, you and I were born on the same day, right? The same year. We answer different names. You present your papers, and I present mine. Will they be valid or not? How can someone tell simply because we were born the same date, the same year, that you are making a false representation? You are trying to assume my identity. It cannot be done. And so if our inability to establish that this person had altered his identity, had acquired a fake name, is what you refer here as inability to detect, then I think you're asking the impossible.